and gentlemen, welcome back to the big BFSI Future Tech Show. My name is Bhavna, and right now we're delving into the disruptive technology trends in BFSI. While the business world is getting transformed and changing rapidly with digital disruption, backend with insight and automation opportunities gained out of AI and ML enabling data analytics. Well, for the panel discussion on how data and analytics backed by AI is transforming the BFSI sector, we're looking at talking on the various topics. Chatbots backed by AI abilities, accessing data securely through a single access point, AI-powered platforms, RPM banking, how to enable banks to not only be alerted to potential fraud, but also giving them a percentage that depicts the likelihood of a card ever becoming compromised. Also looking at talking about elimination of human risk, identification of complex patterns in financial institutions to meet the regulatory obligations, and using big data and pattern recognition to predict market movements. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with this, it is now time for me to introduce you to the eminent panelists for this discussion. First up, Nivarti Jayaram, the Chief Data Officer of Societe Generale. Thank you so much, Nivarti, firstly, for joining us today.
Thank you, Bhavna. Very good afternoon to everyone.
So an EMCC certified executive coach, author, speaker, service veteran, UN Peacemaker, winner of Next 100 India's Future CIO Awards for 2020, and recognized for his expertise in transforming organizations over the past 15 plus years. That is for Mr. Nivarti Jayaram. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, joining us next is Ravi Shankar, Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer, Denodo. Ravi is a published author and a frequent speaker on data management and governance. He's responsible for Denodo's global marketing efforts, and his deep expertise in data-related technologies helped enterprises to adopt modern data integration and data management services and solutions. Thank you so much, Mr. Shankar, for joining us today.
I'm glad to be here, Bhavna.
Pleasure having you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, also joining us is Gowri Shankar, Enterprise Architect and CDO, BFSI HPE. Well, a thought leader who's emerging in technologies with more than 20 plus years of IT industry experience with financial service customers across the Asia Pacific and Japan, working across several function areas at HPE. Thank you so much, Gowri Shankar, for joining us.
Good afternoon to all of you. Glad to be here.
Pleasure having you, sir. Also joining us is Ayaskant Mohapatra, a Chief Information Officer, BOB Financial Services. Well, a senior IT professional with 21 years of experience in BFSI domain, and is specialized in developing new architecture to go digital and enabling business models from scratch. Thank you so much, Mr. Mohapatra, for joining us today.
Thank you, Abna. Glad to be here.
Likewise, sir. Also, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for me to introduce you to the moderator of this panel discussion. Well, we're joined by Rajiv Mahajan, Chief Information Officer, HSBC. Rajiv has played a vital role in technology and digital transformation for Barclays and HSBC, redefining the ways of working digital services and putting innovation as normal. He's currently responsible for engineering transformation and innovation. Thank you so much, Mr. Mahajan, for joining us today.
No, thank you so much. My pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. Look forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Likewise. So ladies and gentlemen, with this, it is now time to pass on the live baton to Mr. Mahajan to take it forward with his panel. If you may have any questions directed to our panel, please feel to put it up in the Q&A tab. We'll take it up at the end of the session if time allows. With this, over to you.
Thank you so much, Bhavna. Hope I'm audible. Okay, so once again, I think it's a pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you so much for the invite. So we'll get started very quickly. So first of all, AI is, I will say, still one of the buzzwords. Whenever I see AI anywhere, I definitely make sure I read every bit of this particular thing and see, I think, how it is changing the world, how it is changing the organizations, how it is changing the industry, how it is changing the colleagues, what it is offering for us, for my family and all that. So AI is definitely has a great potential to transform, to change the world. It is the buzz. At times it's the flavor of the week, flavor of the month, quarter and the year. Is it mere hype or does it truly have the potential to transform and to innovate and to change the things in how we approach the thing. So we have a panel of very distinguished professionals today, as introduced by Bhavna a few minutes back, to explore how AI can really transform BFSI. So, so if I may get started with our esteemed panelists today, and if I can request my first question to Gowri, and my question is, AI means different things to different people, right? And something like the elephant and the 7 blind men, some would call it, oh, AI is machine learning, some call it supervised learning, other call it unsupervised learning. It can get very confusing. So may I request you how you will explain AI to a newbie, right? How you will explain AI to a layman? Gowri?
Yeah, thanks, Rajiv, for that question. So as you rightly said, AI is the most coolest technology what we can have in the industry today. And it's going to be, whether we like it or not, AI is going to be part of our life, and it's going to be forever. So yes, AI can bring a lot of transformation into one's life, and also at the personal level, at organization level. Now, if I have to simply put in a very everyday example, typically in those days when we want to go to a shopping for anything for our own families, we might have some selections of 3-4 shops to go and pick it up, and whatever product we have from there, we pick up those products. And then we come back, and maybe next time when we go back and buy again, maybe out of those 3-4 shops, we'll pick up one of the shop which could be probably better in terms of quality. One might be better in terms of price. One might be better in terms of convenience, which is nearby your location. One could be just like I like the shop. So we had a very limited set of information in those days to do our shopping for ourselves. But today you can imagine the kind of choices what we get in the market for your own shopping at home, right? Whether it is your dress materials and home appliances or anything and so on. So you can imagine if a personal life can have so much of variation, the so is in the business as well. So can I do such a shopping today with a very less amount of time, make my decision and go and pick up the right thing, what I want to do? I think it will be very difficult with the choices what is there in the market. So AI helps there. What AI does is, unlike the past where we had a limited set of data with a predictable behavior, we are moving to an unpredictable ecosystem with a vast amount of data, but do a decision in a short span of time. So AI will bring that change to a life, personal life or the business. So naturally in the BFSI, where is the sector, we'll look at that in a big scale in terms of how it can transform the decision-making process in the BFSI itself across various use cases for the business.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gowri. And I think that is, if someone can help me, I think taking a decision in my shopping list and help me in shopping, I think that is really going to help me. So thank you for the lovely explanation. Thank you. So Gowri, I think you can stay on. My next question is also for you only. So I think So Gowri, at HP, what you have understood AI to be from your context? Is everything related to data AI? And next is, I think probably next part is my favorite one. What is the difference between natural intelligence and artificial intelligence?
Okay, so in HP, in fact, if you look at, there is always anything have a kind of a supply side and demand side. Supply side is, in this case, the BFSI customer is going to be on the demand side, and we're going to be on the supply side in terms of being a technology player. So as a technology player, what we see AI is to see how AI can bring in kind of a simplicity and ease of management and faster turnaround time for a lot of IT-oriented activities, IT operations. So be it our own technology where we onboarded AI capabilities, so a lot of your day-to-day tasks can be automated with the proper data fed into the system. So AI for HP is very, very valuable. The significant investment gone into the AI technologies in terms of incorporating AI capabilities into HP's portfolio itself, so that our own innovation, our own decision-making process can be much more faster. And when we meet customer requirements on different technology, the technology can take care of by itself. Now, how it is differing in terms of like making a decision without AI or with AI. The whole key thing is about how fast you can do. Data exists then, data exists today, but then the data, what you have today is variety, velocity, and volume, all the three. So for you to make a decision with that scale in a very short span of time, and then close to reality what you want to do, AI will bring that change in terms of benefit. So HP is looking at bringing those things. And naturally, journey of AI is not a turnkey project unlike what we see in the past. It's an experience making, it's programmatic, and it is strategic for organization. So we would like to see how we can work and give customers directions on those areas so that customer can evaluate and evolve and then innovate.
Oh, thank you so much, Gowri. I think love the keyword experience making, and that actually, I think that makes a big amount of difference. So if I may, I think Nivarti, if I can probably request or ask the next question to you, please. So Nivarti, how is Societe Generale exploiting data and AI? What are the use cases that are already benefiting your organization and the industry?
Yeah, I would fully agree with what Gowri said. So to add on to the velocity, the volume, the data readiness is also a very important factor. Means how you are looking at availability of data, the integrity, the quality of data, and have right governance around the data. So you are able to actually use right kind of data sets for making full value of AI. And we are investing quite a bit on AI as well. And if I have to talk about use cases, one from a customer perspective, because Gowri also touched upon the customer aspect of shopping. So how you segregate the customer feedback and then customize the kind of experience you provide based on that feedback to each of the customers based on probably the regions that they are in or the product they are currently using, and how you customize that experience to suit each and every customer, right? So that is something which we are definitely looking at as one of the value propositions, and that will also help us increase our customer retention aspect also. And the second use case, if I have to touch upon, is not just customers, on the employees with the post-pandemic, probably now things settling down a bit. We are continuously analyzing the sentiments of people and our employees as well, to understand how they are feeling right now with the situation, what they are going through, what is their response, what is their current state, how are the systems helping them, how are how the organization policies are helping them. So the two different aspects, one external oriented where you have customers being the prime focus, and of course the internal workforce being another prime focus. If I have to highlight, I think those are the two use cases. There are many, but I just thought to put focus on those two right now.
Thank you so much, Nivarti. Interesting to, I think, hear that focuses both on colleagues as well as customers. That's really great to hear. So, so next, I think if I can go to Ravi. So Ravi, Denodo provides ability to virtualize data amongst other things. How have organizations benefited from data virtualization and AI?
Sure, Rajiv. First, before I kind of go into talk about the benefits, let me actually define a little bit about data virtualization. I'm not sure how many of our audience are familiar with it. So data virtualization is a real-time data integration and data delivery. The primary problem it solves is like the data is disparate across multiple different systems. It brings together the data into a single cohesive view of the data and then provides it for consumption through analytics or operational website, mobile devices, and so on. And the approach that it uses to integrate the data is virtual in fashion. So which means it does not physically persist the data. It's a logical view of the data. That's why it's called data virtualization. Now, the things that the organizations benefit from the combination of artificial intelligence and data virtualization, one is about automating a lot of the manual processes. Early on, you asked the difference to Gowri about the difference between natural and artificial intelligence and what exactly defines artificial intelligence. So, putting back my developer hat, like right now, it is a hype in the sense that a lot of people are throwing the buzzword AI for things that really not in any intelligence built into it. So for us, like for example, we learn how to bike, we learn how to swim. The brain basically learns a particular process and is able to execute it. So when a software program is able to learn the behavior based on the data that it has been given, and it can change the answer. Initially, you had 5 sets of data, and then you now pump in 50 sets of data, and it's able to use that, learn the process, and come up with a better answer. Then it has intelligence built into it. So to that extent, the artificial intelligence with data virtualization enables automation of many of the manual processes. Right now, if you look at it, the developers are pulling the data together, writing scripts, writing code, and then trying to pull them all together, which takes time. But can you actually deploy artificial intelligence and machine learning to learn these processes about how they do it and automate it and do it by itself? That is one thing that is a benefit that the data virtualization and artificial intelligence brings together. The other area is in terms of recommendations. Now, there are a lot of different options that you can take from a particular approach perspective, but which is the best one to take? Sometimes that might not be very obvious to you. Can the machine, based on all the data, provide a particular recommendation? If you take this one, you will be better off. It might be much shorter, it might be much faster, much less error prone. So those kind of recommendations it can provide. And the last one is the ability to get the data, the performance, the speed at which the data can be delivered. We all want data instantaneously. Like it happened in the COVID situation, where we wanted to know the business as things are being shut down, how can we quickly transform? So in such cases, how can we quickly deliver the data? So artificial intelligence comes into picture to shorten the path to the insights, to the delivery of the data to the business users. So those are the benefits, like automation, recommendation, and enhancing performance is the way organizations can benefit with data virtualization and artificial intelligence.
No, thank you so much, Ravi. I think this was very helpful. I think someone has explained me the data virtualization in a very, very simple way, and completely agree. I think automating how data sets are chosen and then recommending, and then what is the accuracy of that, I think makes a big amount of difference. So thank you so much, Ravi. So with this, next I'll move on to Ayaskant. And if I may, Ayaskant, at BOB Bank of Baroda, what use cases of AI have been implemented or under implementation? If I may request to share some examples in your organization and industry.
Yeah, thanks, Rajiv. Let me just take it up. Being a financial organization, and we are kind of deal with more into financial informations, so we need to very much kind of cautious about two aspects. One is the data and the sensitivity of data, and the other part is the guidelines and the rules what the kind of regulators has imposed and has to follow. Two aspects of it. What we're just working, one part is already implemented, one part we are working on it. One is before we take them as a customer. What you talk about, identifying a proper kind of prospect and put the journey as a seamless journey to onboard them as a customer. So their AI is using very kind of very strongly what we are trying to use it. Earlier days, I believe that Gowri was saying that what the earlier days was happening, the shopping kind of, you do not have that kind of experience. We have to run through one shop, then you don't find, then move to other shop, then move to other shop, keep on entire exploring the market. So now after the mall concept came in, so all things are in single place. It's how quick you just browse through the entire flow and pick the two things or the goods what you want, right? Similarly, the similar concept in the kind of technical life and how you implement in the BFSI segment for us is that we see that what are the basic things to be done as a customer to be onboarded. One is to check the background, how customers. Secondly, the credit score or kind of the background check. Normally we do PAN, civil, and all this verification financial industry do. Third thing is that what is the network, what is the potential for the future product for the customers. other for the kind of organization. So on that, lot of integrations points are available without giving a pain to customer. You come and upload this document, that document, give a sign here, go and sign 50-page document, give that sign of agreement, all these things. That is just a click of a button now, right? Once you have a click and the check of the customers and you know this is customer, because this need to be vigilance, but can it be policing on the customers? So this is two aspects to be keep on that, where you are going to be protected, but you cannot be stringent to all of this. So everybody is not kind of coming to that mindset, but yes, we need to be cautious about it. There we are using very, very smartly, the AI is getting used based on driving that how the customer mindset. It's called cognitive approach kind of thing we talk about. You just want to see what kind of customer behavioral, the screen get changed accordingly. So that everybody is not going through the same legacy 10-page process. It's based on your ability and quickly how quickly you are giving data. The next question is that, and very smoothly you onboard this customer. That is one part where AI is very strongly used. The other part, post kind of implementation and being a customer, we use this in kind of, it's a POC kind of stage. We have not gone very fully on this side because a lot of things we need to take care on those. And the aspect of the threat also we need to be very much cautious about that. We are trying to pitch the right product and give a right offering to the customers. As I say that the same example on the floor when you're doing a shopping mall, you just kind of shirt or might be blazer, then you used to always you look at whether the other kind of garments has been similar offer kind of thing. So you want to analyze those kind of financial product to the customer so that they choose the right product and they keep invested and we have a long relationship and continue as a customer without giving any kind of hassle and asking for so much of documentations. It's just right kind of product with the right, the lot of kind of age safe matches. Suppose we this example just to take, it's allowed to take that one. If that's a young age customers, so might be the age we're talking about below 30. So if the customer is specifying and just looking for a kind of home loan, we want to pitch him that this is interior guys available interior kind of thing, or the other home stop might be giving a kind of furniture offer to you kind of thing. So they are trying to bundle so that it's easy for the customer to go one and everything done as a one shot. Similar kind of experience as a shopping mall experience kind of thing. But it's all as backed by data. It's basically kind of predictive analysis we can talk about, because AI is now everybody's part, everybody use smartphone and it is there already. So we are every day facing those. We are trying to put those kind of intelligence into the financial systems or the platform or the financial product so the customer gets benefit out of it. That's why we do that.
Thank you so much, Ayaskant, and I think this was very helpful. Some great example how practically it is helping and how you guys are using it. So thanks, Ayaskant. Moving on, Ravi. Once again, I'm coming back to you, and this time my question is: I'm sure in Denodo you would have foreseen a word that literally runs on AI, right? So. So what is any practical examples I think you can you like to pitch in with that? Yes, this is what has really helped and made a big difference to your organization and to your customers.
Sure, Rajiv, I can point out 4 examples. The first one is in the area of analytics. Now we know that in terms of the analytics has been around for the last 30 years. It is making a big transition at this particular point in terms of getting onto the cloud. But if you look at the way the analytics has evolved from being like enterprise data warehouse, nowadays you cannot see a single enterprise data warehouse within the company, in the sense that different departments have different analytical solutions. Some use Tableau, for example, in marketing. They might be using Qlik within sales, Power BI in a different function. So they all use different tools. But the business wants the ability to use the tool that is important to them, that is easy for them. But as an IT, how do you basically lock it down so that you deliver the ability for them to use these multiple tools without having to duplicate the effort of delivering the data across all these different tools that they want to use? So there is this concept called universal semantic layer, that the data virtualization enables. And that is one use case through which it becomes a central part of locking down the conversion from the technical data to the business definition and letting loose, in other words, democratization of the tools of the business users in whatever reporting tools that they can use. But the IT just maintains this one place for the definition, the semantic definition, and the conversion, and also the security associated with that. So that is example number one. Example number two is in the area of cloud modernization. We saw during the pandemic, a lot of the companies, especially in the BFSI, migrated to the cloud in droves simply because of the cost, because the revenue was basically cut down, the budgets were cut down, the staff was cut down. So they actually started moving to the cloud to make the transition from the capital expenditure to the operational expenditure. So nowadays we see a lot of this transition happening, but that transition comes at a cost in terms of being able to disrupt the business. It is just like changing house, going from one house to another house in one or other city, and it is mainly disrupt. So similar to that, business users won't be able to access the application, won't be able to access the data, won't be able to conduct the business. So that's where data virtualization comes in to provide that abstraction where the IT can modernize to the cloud without the business being disrupted. They come to the data virtualization layer and ask for the data, and the data virtualization will provide it. That's example number two. The third example is what I call as the data fabric. This is a modern trend that Gartner is talking about. So the ability to stitch together the data from across disparate sources of data, disparate types of data, it could be structured, unstructured, different latencies of data. There could be data at rest or data at motion, bringing them all together to deliver the data in the format, in the speed, and the location at which the customer, the business user needs is something that the data fabric provides. And the data virtualization enables a logical data fabric. And the final example is in the data as a service. How do you package? We talk about data as an asset, but how do you basically truly monetize it? That is by enabling the data as a service. There are a lot of data within the company, but how do you bundle it to a customer object or a product object, and what is the relationship among them? So delivering the data in a cohesive form with the interactions, with the associations. So these are the four use cases in the analytics, cloud modernization, logical data fabric, and data as a service that data virtualization enables with artificial intelligence.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ravi. I think very helpful. And I think data as a service, data fabric, I think very interesting concepts. So with this, if I can move to Nivarti, and my next question, Nivarti, is what challenges Societe Generale is facing with respect to driving AI-led transformation? What are the key risks you guys are seeing?
Yeah, I don't think this is just a risk to us. It's a generic risk that is prevalent. Ethical use of AI, right? So we all have biases. We all are born with certain belief systems. So that will reflect when you are creating these learning models or AI algorithms. So how do you make sure as an organization that the decisions that you are making are ethical using AI? That's one of the biggest challenges, because when you are making or creating solutions completely based on AI, and decisions are made out of it, that means you are cascading the biases to the whole community of customers rather than restricting it to one person when the decision is reviewed by a certain human being. So the challenge is how you ensure that AI is used ethically and it does not impact people based on their region, religion, race, or whatever, right? So that is one of the major challenges, and I think it's across the industries, not just restricted to BFSI. Second is, again, where does the accountability lie? Because once an algorithm is created and people are moving across organizations, do we have a right governance in place to review those processes and the AI solutions from time to time to ensure that there is a need for review, a need for relooking at those solutions based on what we are learning from those being implemented and what feedback we are getting from our own customers and people. Right? Those are some challenges, and these are not just specific to us, but that is something which comes with AI is what we feel.
No, thank you. Thank you, Nivarti. And I think this definitely makes sense. And these are the key risks. And with all the data, I think you have got, I think, some great piece of information. How do we use that information in the right way, in an unbiased way? I think that is very, very important. With this, once again, I'll ask, I think, one basic question. And like, for example, I'll say that if I'm a college graduate, right, the AI is like very fascinating for me. Like, I definitely want to, this is something I want to make my career into. So I think maybe this is a question which I'll maybe request, I think, Gowri and then Ayaskant, I think, if you want to take a stab on, like, what is like probably twofold. Part one is, I think, what's your advice to the young graduates who want to take AI as a career? And second is, again, I think, going back to where we keep saying AI is anything where the logic is between the input and output is built using training data. Will you agree with this particular definition, or will you like to put a more simplified version or a more complicated version? So, so I think first, Gowri, if I may request you to.
Yeah, thanks, Rajiv. So I think from a if I want to call, so like, from a career point of view, AI. So people generally say when technology comes in, people lose job. I don't agree with that, because like when technology comes, every technology provides job as well. So when AI comes in, it suddenly takes away some amount of work what a human would do in terms of decision-making process, or coming with the best possible suggestions, what you want to have from available data, those kind of things. But then the job actually requires much more skilled humans to go and train those models. So what you actually have, the AI aspirants who want to be in the AI domain, you should look at AI from a perspective of giving a new area for you to develop your career. And AI is just not about programming a few models. You need to have a lot of intelligence, a lot of understanding of the domain to create those models to bring out meaningful outcomes. So if you want to put it simply, somebody just learning technology only would not help. Rather, if you have an understanding of application of technology onto a specific domain, wherever you are interested to, like, some people would probably naturally like cars, some naturally likes movies, some naturally like to work with money, financials. So if you have an inclination of natural area where you want to put your skills, you apply the technology in that area. So it becomes an AI-driven the industry where you want to operate to, and you become largely successful. So the IT, we all in IT for last 10, 20 years now. The IT career path, what we saw before last 2 decades, is very different than what it is going to be for next 10 years. So people should look at applicability of technology, and AI is a very, very best charter to pick it up in that way to create a career path. So that's my limited point for the aspirants who want to be in AI.
No, thank you so much, Ravi, and completely agree. I think it definitely opens up, I think, some new challenges and new avenues and new opportunities. So I think thanks for the perspective. And if I may request Ayaskant or any other esteemed panelist who want to, I think, pitch in into this.
Yeah, I'll take it, Rajiv, on this side. This is a very good topic, and people here I might be knowing that who are kind of, there might be young people are in the kind of conference, people might be listening, or there might be a parent to a young generation, so they might be giving guidance to their kids whether they have to look it or not. I'll take it simple. The way the moment we started our career is being a developer mindset kind of thing. That time we were learning Java, kind of, and Visual Basics, and all these things was very key. Because if I know this, then I'm ready for the programming, right? So this is kind of new kind of age of technology what is coming out, and definitely this has lot of kind of to do on this side. It's not yet matured. It's just a started kind of thing. People very much they can opt for this kind of technology to adopt that one. It's not only doing any programming, it's kind of thinking, the logical thinking and the statistical data. So these are the two key things. If you are very strong at logic and you believe that you have a logic kind of thing and you understand the statistics, this is a good field and this is a must field we should work on. Because there are a lot of things to do and we are not done so much on this field till now. We might be a user, just like you are using what you call Google Talk or Siri kind of thing. It's just used, the backend technology uses AI, right? There are a lot of things to do in the medical science, a lot of things to be done in the financial industry, a lot of things to be done in our real life traveling, kind of entertainment, a lot of things to be done. And the AI is not designing a movie or something is enough kind of thing. We have to see how this can help and improve our life. And why you feel and I feel that the younger generation should take and after it is because they do not have any legacy on the backward thinking, how the ancient was works. So they're now coming always in the forward thinking, and the way people are adopting right now the new technology, new gadgets, new mobile phones, and the new era of thinking in their life they understood, because they might be not seeing kind of the telephone what we used to see in our childhood days, right? So they all come into the button of this mobile. So the mindset what is coming out and they need to put, and I think they are the appropriate people, and this is the appropriate time to take out as a carrier for the younger generation, and there are a lot of things to do on this side. In AI, what you're doing basically, I'll say that in AI, what you're doing basically, you can divide into three major categories. You can talk about predictive, which we are kind of very weak.
Ayush, in the interest of time, I'll have to stop here. My sincere apologies.
Yeah, sure, no problem. No problem.
Yeah, but I think that's a great explanation. Thank you so much, I think, for your comments on this. So I think with this, I'll move to my next question, and I'll request Gowri, I think, if you can take a stab on this, which is what challenges and risks await organizations on AI? How your organization is helping overcome these challenges and risks?
Excellent question, Rajiv. In fact, like any success of technology depends upon how best you can implement that and how fast you can implement that and get a value of that technology. And I think, within this 3-4 digital technologies, AI, blockchain, IoT, AI is being one of successful in that way in terms of showing the real world benefits. Now, when we interact with many customers who we work with for AI transformation initiatives, what we saw was 3-4 large pillars of challenges. The fundamental one is the data, having kind of a common data strategy. I mentioned my initial conversation about not having a turnkey approach to AI, have a programmatic strategic approach for AI, which means you require a comprehensive data strategy. The more the data you give, the good for AI. It's a fuel for AI, so you get better output. So having a comprehensive data strategy, which includes bringing all together and also quality of data. That's pillar number one, what we say a challenge. The second challenge, what we saw was with respect to the skill gap, and I would not say skill gap, reskilling the people to the new needs, what it has to be. As you know, like Aishan mentioned about the thinking process, how to be different when you apply AI kind of technology. You need some amount of things beyond logic. So the reskilling people for the new technology, that's another area where you require a programmatic approach to see, without losing jobs, how you can probably reskill your employees in your organization. The third is AI is not about just deploying. No, you need to have ways and means to create that precision answer what you want out of AI. So when you want a precision answer, you need to have a model which can be developed. Multiple models can be developed, and faster it can be developed, which means there should be some level of automation in operationalizing AI. So AI ops going to be the third area where you need to look at. People typically, when you go on AI projects, people miss out these things and becomes a failure. So hence, when you have a comprehensive strategy, you look at these aspects as well. The last but most important one, AI is not a turnkey. It improves over a period of time, which means the experience making will have an impact on the budget. So your budgeting has to be seen as well. So the challenge is what we typically saw in the market when we go to the customer. People actually have some gaps here and there. So HP tries and brings with right amount of advisory where you can actually derive this comprehensive strategy. Technologies which can put this piece together and bring that common data fabric for you, or operationalizing your AI.
Last 30 seconds.
All those aspects, and as well, as Ravi mentioned, as a service is the way the industry is moving, and HP as well is now looking at delivering end-to-end as a service for all the portfolio, including AI kind of technologies. Rajiv.
No, thank you so much, Gowri. I think very, very helpful. With this, we have reached to the end of this. So first of all, I think my many thanks to all my fellow panelists. It's to be honest, it's a great learning session for me as well. Hearing to all your comments, all your answers, all your great feedback was really, really enlightening and learning. So thank you so much. So I'll end this with this. I think one thing, I think it's a continuous journey. So I think I call it as a continuous AI. Keep experimenting it, fail fast, learn fast, evolve fast. And that's what is the last message I will say that. With this, I will hand it over back to Bhavna. And once again, thank you so much, everyone. It was a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Raji. Firstly, let's give him kudos for moderating it so wonderfully. Thank you so much for that.